Hi, welcome to our Toy Talk. Thanks for tuning in. We, Darlynn and I have put together a list of some of the toys that we recommend and want to review it with you guys and share. And the reason we put no batteries and no screens is because we want to really focus on just having fun and not having to worry about all of those things. Okay, so we're going to get into that right now. Okay. So our top 10 tips for selecting toys for your child include these. Number one, no batteries. And I think we talked about that. Toys that have multiple uses. You want to buy a toy that you can do different things with. My mantra is if you can't do 10 different things with something, then it's not a good toy. You should be able to do 10 different things with a piece of Scotch tape. Why not a toy? Go back to basics. Pick things that are, the old tried and traditional, like potato head, like like an old phone. The old basic things are the things that the kids like best. Try not to worry about gender. Don't get hung up on, oh, that's a girl toy or a boy toy. Everybody gets dressed up. Everybody cooks. Everybody fixes a battery. So it's not fair to really say that that's a girl toy or a boy toy, or to shop in the pink aisle versus the blue aisle. Don't worry about the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s. Kids that learn that too early end up going to kindergarten and they don't know what to do with themselves. And a bored kid is usually somebody that gets into trouble. So try not to overlearn your kids. Put away your flashcards. Don't brag about the things that they know every ABC and every shape and every number, because those things really don't matter to a 2 or a 3 or a 4-year-old. They really don't. They need to know how old they are, but they don't need to know all of that yet. Get your child moving. Kids that are moving are stimulating their brains. Their brains need it. Wintertime is typically a dormant time for learning because kids are inside a lot. When spring comes and summer, they're out there moving and breathing and the sun is on them. And they're learning. And they learn a lot more when they're moving. And it also stimulates a lot of language. Less is more. Try to clean out your toy rooms. Just put out a couple of things and rotate them so that the kids get used to using different toys for different things. If they have too many toys, they're going to get overwhelmed. Kids that I've gone to houses and they have a ton of toys, and maybe they're all great toys, but the kids can only pick up one at a time, and then they see another one, so they drop it, and they keep going and going and going, but they're not paying attention, they're not playing, and they're not learning. The same thing with rotating. Then your house won't be so cluttered. Just keep out 3 things or a box of toys. Put the rest in the porch or somewhere else. You're not getting rid of them. You're not giving them away. You're just rotating them so you get used to doing different things. Go outside. If it's too cold, go to the mall or go somewhere to somebody's house or an indoor playground. But it's really important to get the kids out and breathing. Walk around the neighborhood. Take a bag and do like a treasure hunt. Find things, play I Spy. Even when you're in the car, you can be playing games because they're not going to be moving. It's a really great time to learn because they're not trying to get out. You take off the radio and you just look outside and you play games. Sing songs, turn off the radio and just learn. And remember that sometimes the best toys aren't toys at all. They're just things you have around your house. It could be your cabinet filled with your Tupperware and your kitchen utensils. It could be parts of toys that don't belong to anything anymore. It could be absolutely anything. A roll of toilet paper, you upcycle. You learn to use things that aren't what they were supposed to be used for. I've even made a marble run out of just paper towel holders taped on the wall, one to another, and it became a maze, and it was working together, and it was strategizing, and it worked, and the kids love it. And remember that, they want to play with you. It's not just the toys that they want to play with. So keep going with this, and you're going to find out more. Thanks.
Okay, so optimal positioning for playing. The boy on the left is W sitting. This shows that he has poor core strength, and we don't want kids to be playing in this position. We want them to play in a crisscross sitting position, a side sitting, and what we really encourage is tummy time. So laying something in front of them and they're playing on their belly. This encourages core strengthening. Their trunk and their head is against gravity. So this is really great for strengthening.
The picture on the top right is really amazing because they're both at the same level. They're either sitting at a table or they could be sitting at a high chair, but the child is looking at the adult or a therapist it could be. When I'm working with kids that are delayed in speech and language, I like to be at their level so I can present the cues. and the object's right in front of my face so that they can see how my mouth is moving and I can see that they're paying attention to what's in front of them. Make sure you read books that are the same way so that the kids are looking at the pictures and you at the same time so that you're both interacting and you're not just a book or the toy, you're a part of the play.
And you're also modeling play, how to play with toys.
So these are some of the recommended websites. I've been doing some research on good stuff. I mean, Amazon covers everything, but you don't necessarily know if it's going to be a good toy. I know that a lot of you guys like to shop on the web because I know it's easier, but and when they write reviews that may be good, maybe not good. So we're going to get into some of those now. Remember, they're ads and they're paid for. So a lot of parents will write things in. These are some of the good ones. I recommend looking into them. Keep going. Puzzles. We all love puzzles. Speech therapists love puzzles. OTs love puzzles. They work on millions of things. Visual, perceptual, reaching, matching, all kinds of things. My big thing is vocabulary. I like to pick puzzles that have pictures of things that are familiar to the children. Not flamingos, not hippopotamuses, simple things that they can relate to. So the pictures on the left are really good for first puzzle kids. They have small knobs, not really large ones. Darlynn can get into that. And again, they're familiar. Pictures in the middle are also good. When you're presenting a puzzle, you don't want to give the kids all the pieces. You want to give them choices. Give it 2 choices and hold them up to your face like I showed you in the last slide so that they can make a guess, or you can ask them, where is the plane? Where is the bus? Do they know what those are? And now where does it go? If you give them too many pieces, they're going to flounder if it's their first time. And this way they're just going to be more successful. The ones on the bottom are more familiar objects that the kids know, apple, fish. And again, you don't even have to use the puzzle. You can just use the pieces. You can hide them in Play-Doh. You can put them in a tissue box, like I said, and play a fishing game with them. They're just great all around pictures of familiar things. So when you're picking out puzzles, make sure that they have things that the kids can relate to. Not things with long names that are hard to say, not things that they've probably never seen in their lifetime, or maybe they will. Maybe you're going to the zoo and that's a good time to get a zoo puzzles to practice the animals before you go. And then after you come home so that they can practice what they saw. They understand it now. Wow, that's a lion? Now I know what a lion is. Mm-hmm. The ones on the right, Darlynn can talk more about those.
So the puzzles on the right really work on bilateral coordination, using both hands to make them connect. It's problem solving, connecting them, a lot of motor planning, and it's also a really good puzzle for cognitive skill development. The reasons I wouldn't recommend the puzzle on the left is because the knobs are too bulky. I would recommend smaller knobs to really focus on that dexterity, fine motor manipulation. And also, pictures are too close together and it's just too overwhelming for children.
Okay, the picture on the right, good old Melissa and Doug. They want our children to know how to get out of the house alive. Dull locks. Do we want our kids to know how to undo locks? Those are good fine motor skills, but not for a 2-year-old or a 3 or a 4-year-old. So I wouldn't recommend those puzzles. Go for more of the ones if they're, lift them up. They have ones that, you pick up the piece and then there's one underneath it to hide it. But the one on the right, I would stay away from.
The pegboard is a great toy for the younger children for their motor development. It works on fine motor coordination. It works on that visual perception, using both hands. So stacking them on top of each other, putting them together using both hands, pulling them apart. You can do sorting shapes, sorting colors, and you could present it to them on a table or on the floor, so that way they're on their tummy, or even on a vertical surface. So it really challenges their motor planning skills and their strength. Building blocks are a great toy for imagination. You can just go wild building all types of things and using your imagination to come up with things to build. It also works on that spatial awareness, force discrimination. It's tricky to stack blocks on top of each other without knocking them down, so it works on that awareness and that development of those skills. Chain reaction Legos is a great toy for the older kids. It works on hand strengthening, using both hands together, again, to pull apart, put together the Lego pieces. And this game also comes with a book of ideas of structures and directions of how to build these structures. So it works on following directions. It's an interactive and motivating game. And also it's a great game because it gives children a sense of accomplishment when they build something that's incredibly awesome. So yeah, that's a great toy for kids also. Squidgets, great toy for hand strengthening, again using both hands together, pulling apart, putting together, and it's a really resistive material, so you have to use a lot of hand strength for this. Mr. Potato Head, old classic, really great for body identification, body part awareness. Your eyes are above your nose or your mouth is under your nose. The pieces are pretty tricky to manipulate, so it also works on using both hands and strengthening bilateral coordination. The Marble Run is also a great game for problem solving, hand strengthening, and it's also a very interactive toy, so kids really love playing with this.
Imaginative play is probably one of the best things our kids can ever do. Some kids take a little longer to get there, but once you're there, you can play out all kinds of things. And you don't need to go to the store and buy all kinds of stuff. You can use the kids in the bottom have the laundry basket. They've upcycled everything in their house, and all they needed was a pirate hat. The Playmobil in the top middle is a fantastic line. It's indestructible. You can play out different scenes like going to the dentist. You can work on desensitizing kids or getting them used to a new situation like going to school or the playground. You can have the little people pretend to take turns, bite, just any kind of routine situation that they do on a daily basis. The dollhouse the same way. You don't even actually need a dollhouse. You just need the things that go inside. And they should look as familiar to the kids as you have in your life. I mean, a castle is lovely, but I don't live in one, do you? So I would stick to things like bathrooms and kitchens and couches and outdoor things that the kids can reenact them doing what they see with you. It's also a fantastic way to play with language to practice those situations and labeling different things in their house and doing different routine things. The kitchen should also be as simple as can be. I mean, we looked at sites and the kitchens looked like something out of I don't know. They were so fancy that the kids couldn't really play. They were just too busy looking at all the different gadgets. You really just need an oven, a stovetop, a toaster, and kids don't even know what toasters are anymore. Utensils, and play food, and make sure they're sturdy. Some of them come apart. They have Velcro in the middle, which is really good for an OT standpoint. They use a knife, so they're working on two hands together. Pouring, vocabulary, again, you can play restaurant. It's just a fantastic way to explore and learn, and don't worry about if it's a boy or a girl. We all do eat, and a lot of us love to cook and keep our kids in the kitchen. So it's, when they can interact with one another. So I think a kitchen is a critical thing. Dress up. You don't need to go to the fancy places and get any dress ups. You can just take your things out of the closet. They're bigger. They're easier for the kids to put on. You might have an old prom dress, big hats, socks, boots, pulling on a pair of rain boots. It's a great way to practice dressing skills. Musical instruments are great because you can pretend you're in a marching band, and you don't necessarily have to have the real things. You can pretend. You can make a drum set out of a can. You can make a flute out of a empty container and just, cut off the ends. Anything to get the kids singing, playing, dancing, moving, talking, all of that. Just playing, and get in there and do it with them, because mom and dad, you're their best role model, and siblings too. So those are our recommendations for those.
Okay, so Jenga is one of Gambaru's favorite toys here. For on the OT side, it works on spatial awareness, using both hands. You have to be very careful to take one piece out. It also works on social skill development. What we like to do here is write questions on each block. So for example, we can write, what did you eat today? So it works on that recall, memory recall. Or like You have to ask a friend, what's your favorite food, answering questions. Kerplunk also is another one that we put our own twist to it, where we put sticky notes on the end, and when you pull on each stick, which also works on fine motor, you have to answer what it says on each stick. So it also works on that social interaction. Zingo, we also really enjoy playing Zingo with our kids. It works on a lot of vocabulary for the speech side, matching that visual perception, matching. It works on fine motor skill development, where you have to pick up the small flat pieces and insert them into the Zingo slot, and that can actually be very hard for kids because it's very resistive and they have to really use a lot of strength to push it in to the slot. Bilateral coordination, you have to pull on the Zingo to pull it back and forth. Sneaky Squirrel is a really good game too because it works on fine motor strengthening, turn taking, Hullabaloo. Although this has batteries, and we did say no batteries, it's a great game to play with friends. It gets kids moving. It works on following directions, discrimination, such as it has like pictures, shapes, and categories. Don't Break the Ice is a great game, works on that hand-eye coordination, isolation, and also turn taking. Motor play and movement are all very important for the development of children, stimulating their brain. So all of these are great toys to have around the house for on a rainy day. All of these toys encourage motor planning. It challenges their motor planning skills. It challenges their spatial awareness, body awareness, increases strength, balance, and coordination. Through movement, it builds confidence. The sit and spin, trampoline, teeter topper, and the sit and bounce are all toys that you might want to check with your OT before purchasing. Tunnels are also a great toy to have at home. We can build obstacle course, put cushions under them to make it more challenging for children, push a ball or toys through them, and just change it up so that the kids don't get bored and they enjoy playing with these. Play-Doh is a great tool to use for hand strengthening. Rolling out the Play-Doh, kneading the Play-Doh, making shapes out of the Play-Doh with your hands, using cookie cutters to push down and make shapes, taking off, even just taking the caps off the Play-Doh works on using both hands, cutting the Play-Doh. Aquadoodle, we can put it on the floor, so you're on your tummy or your belly while you're drawing something, drawing a picture, or even work on letter formation. It works on making no mess, and there's no mess. We can also put it on the wall, so it's on a vertical surface, so you're working against gravity, hand strengthening. It's stabilizing your shoulder. Pre-writing skills. It definitely works on pre-writing skills. Wiki sticks are also awesome because it's resistive material, so you have to bend it, manipulate it. Works on dexterity. You can. What in the picture it shows that like they traced, so it's good for tracing. It's good to it's good for building things. Anything else, Amy?
No, it's awesome, and you can make different creations with it.
Yeah, and the easel is also a good.
Who doesn't want an easel? Everybody loves easels.
We love easels. Also, it's on a vertical surface, so it's also good for hands. That arm strengthening,
and
shoulder
some have
stability.
like the dry erase and the chalk on the other. You can buy the. Sometimes they have paper that you can roll down. Just throw newspapers underneath it and wrap it up at the end of the day and throw it away.
Magna Doodles are good for your pre-writing skills also, and it's motivating, so kids enjoy practicing how to write with that.
So hope you learned some good stuff today about what to do for toys for the holidays or birthdays or whatever. And above all, we just want you to not forget to have fun. Thanks for tuning in.